Welcome to Advanced Dual Health and Life Coach Certification. Today we're going to discuss executive health coaching certification models, specifically mindful leadership and connection. Let's start with an introduction. Leadership is no longer just about directing actions or achieving results. It's about connection, empathy, and authenticity. Mindful leadership, an advanced concept rooted in the principles of awareness, compassion, and intentionality, is rapidly becoming a critical approach for navigating the complexities of modern life. The ability to lead with mindfulness translates into creating environments that nurture collaboration, innovation, and well-being. Here are some key points. Core principles of mindful leadership. Mindful leadership is founded on several guiding principles that enhance self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and connections with others. A. Presence. Mindful leaders stay grounded in the present moment instead of being distracted by anxieties about the future or regrets from the past. They give their teams and tasks their full attention. For example, a mindful leader actively listens during team meetings without constantly checking emails or thinking about upcoming deadlines. This presence improves communication and trust. Self-awareness. By practicing mindfulness, leaders develop a deeper understanding of their own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This self-awareness helps them regulate stress and interact more effectively. The practical application: teach leaders a simple breathing exercise to use before stressful situations, like delivering a difficult message to a team or making critical decisions. Take a look at the diagram on the right for mindful leadership. Empathy and compassion. Mindful leaders engage with their teams from a place of empathy. They care about the well-being of their employees, considering both individual and collective needs. The real-world example: a CEO notices an employee struggling during a tough project and arranges for additional support or time off, showing both empathy and understanding of human limits. Intention and alignment. Leadership decisions and mindful practices align with personal and organizational values. This fosters authenticity and integrity. The teaching point: coaches can guide leaders to journal about their core values and compare them with current decisions to discover alignment gaps. Resilience. Mindful leadership equips individuals to handle challenges without becoming reactive or overwhelmed. For example, a leader practicing mindfulness approaches an unexpected setback with calm, looking to solve and focus instead of rushing into blame or panic. Teaching mindfulness techniques for leadership. Practical mindful techniques can help leaders embody empathy, authenticity, and focus. Cultivating a daily mindful practice. Encouraging leaders to adopt a daily mindfulness routine builds a foundation for mindful leadership. The technique: begin with a 10-minute morning meditation, focusing on breath awareness to prepare for the day ahead. Active listening skills. Leaders can use mindfulness to improve their communication through active listening. Teaching exercise. Ask leaders to engage in one-on-one conversations with team members. Encourage them to focus entirely on what's being said without preparing a response too early. And reflect back, summarizing what the other person conveyed to show understanding. The pause-respond method. Mindfulness promotes thoughtful and intentional responses instead of knee-jerk reactions. The practical tip: teach leaders to pause for 3 deep breaths when faced with triggering situations before responding. Body awareness and stress. Psychological cues, such as a racing heart or clenched jaw, can signal rising stress. Mindful leaders learn to identify and manage these signs. The coaching strategy: introduce body scans where leaders focus on different parts of their body to identify tension points and release them. Gratitude exercises and practices. Expressing gratitude fosters positive energy and connection. This is a great tool for leaders. Heart-centered leadership practices from contemplative traditions. Heart-centered leadership goes beyond operational effectiveness to prioritize relationship, compassion, and authentic engagement. Rooted in contemplative traditions, it brings ancient wisdom into the realm of modern leadership. The principle of loving kindness. This practice, inspired by Buddhist traditions, teaches leaders to approach interaction with kindness and goodwill. The exercise: leaders silently repeat phrases like, "May you be happy, may you be safe, may you thrive," during challenging conversations to foster compassion. Leading through vulnerability. Leaders become approachable and relatable when they have the courage to show vulnerability. A real-life example: during challenging times, a mindful leader shares their own struggles and emotions with their team, creating a culture where it's safe to discuss challenges. Non-attachment. Heart-centered leaders learn to not be overly attached to outcomes, focusing instead on the effort and intentions behind actions. The teaching scenario: coach leaders to set goals that prioritize efforts and adaptability over rigid success metrics. and focus on interconnection. This principle emphasizes that leaders and employees are part of a web of mutual dependency. Practical application: conduct a guided reflection with leaders to visualize how their actions are across the entire organization and impact individual lives. Communication with integrity: heart-centered communication is direct, honest, and mindful of others' emotional states. Application of mindful practices in leadership: building mindful team cultures. Leaders can foster mindfulness across their teams by embodying practices and cultivating environments that value presence, balance, and connection. An example: a manager runs weekly mindfulness check-ins where team members openly share their emotional states without judgment or pressure. Developing inclusive leadership styles. Mindful leaders understand the importance of inclusivity and adapt their approaches based on individual team member needs. The exercise: guide leaders in practicing empathy mapping to better understand their team's diverse challenges and motivations. Navigating crisis situations mindfully. Leadership during crises requires patience, clarity, and calm decision-making. The tool: teach leaders the STOP technique. Stop, take a breath, observe, proceed, for making mindful choices even under pressure. And measuring the impact of mindful leadership. Encourage leaders to track improvements in employee engagement, morale, and retention as indicators of mindfulness positive effects. The practical example: regularly employee feedback surveys can measure perceptions of leadership, empathy, and connection. Bridging contemplative traditions with organizational goals. Balance spiritual practices with tangible outcomes like linking mindfulness to workplace success. The best judge of the chorus. Mindful leadership allows individuals to listen, not just to individual voices within a team, but to the harmony of them together, the chorus. The best leader is akin to a judge of this chorus. They pick up the dynamics, identify whether another one feels heard, and adjust to amplify collaboration. Being a mindful leader requires looking beyond surface data. It's about listening deeply, observing the unsaid, and making thoughtful adjustments to promote unity. Key aspects: clarity and chaos. Even during the toughest decisions, leaders observed with calm, taking calculated risks while keeping their team supported. They empower others to feel they are part of the strategy. And the evaluation of every voice. A mindful judge doesn't just address the strongest or the loudest. They create inclusive systems so every team member feels valued and contributes positively. Facilitation of harmony. Judging the chorus means blending strengths, allowing dissonance to be addressed constructively. Conversation happens without harsh judgment, but the curiosity for better outcomes. Adaptability. When the tune shifts, the leaders adapt but ensure the harmony prevails. Through mindful leadership techniques, teams sustain momentum effectively. Feedback as rhythm. Feedback becomes a natural part of the team's growth. The leader adjusts in reaction on how the team moves forward, be it in crisis resets or successful climbs. Leadership isn't just about an open-ended goal. It's about how to gracefully and cohesively a team member advances together. The best judges listen to cracks and rhythms, address collaboration, and always keep the well-being of their people centered while pursuing the broader vision. Closing thoughts. Mindful leadership is not a skill reserved for seasoned leaders. It's an approach to life and connection that can be cultivated by anyone willing to practice presence, empathy, and authenticity. By integrating mindfulness and heart-centered practices into leadership, coaches can guide individuals to become transformational forces in their organizations and communities. The techniques and traditions outlined in this lecture will empower life and health coaches to teach leaders how to show up intentionally, respond empathetically, and lead authentically. With mindful leadership organizations, they can evolve into spaces where individuals not only succeed, but thrive in alignment with their values and their collective purpose. Here are some summary tables. Table 1, the principles of mindful leadership. Here you will see the principle, the description, the benefits, the challenges, and the example in practice. Take a look at the principles of presence, self-awareness, empathy, integrity, and resilience. Table 2, mindfulness practices for effective leadership. Here you'll see the practice, the objective, how to apply, the benefits, and the example in use. Take a few moments to review meditation, body scan, active listening, gratitude journaling, and pause before reacting. Table 3, strategies for heart-centered leadership. On this table, you'll see the strategy, the description, the benefits, the challenges, and an example. Let's walk through one. The strategy is vulnerability. The description, sharing personal challenges with the team. The benefits, it encourages openness and trustworthiness. Challenges, requires courage, fear of judgment. An example, a leader discussing their own growth during meetings. Take a few moments to review the rest of the table. Table 4, organizational benefits for mindful leadership. Review each benefit: impact on leaders, impact on teams, impact on the business, and implementation example. In Table 5, crisis handling techniques for leaders. Look at the STOP approach, visualization, empathy mapping, gratitude sessions, and mindful communication. Take a few moments to review the rest of Table 5 for crisis handling techniques for leaders. Multiple choice questions. Question 1. Which principle of mindful leadership focuses on aligning actions with values and long-term goals? The correct answer is D, intention. Question 2. What is the main objective of the STOP technique used in crisis situations? The correct answer is B, to prevent reactive behavior and encourage clarity. Question 3. Which mindfulness techniques is particularly useful for improving physical and emotional relaxation during high-stress periods? The correct answer is C, body scan awareness. And question 4. Which of the following is an organizational benefit of mindful leadership? The correct answer is B, lower workplace stress levels. And question 5. Why is non-attachment an important practice in heart-centered leadership? The correct answer is C, it encourages adaptability and reduces stress.